There is always time for what matters most. Let me remind you of that. Because even though we are busy, overworked, and underappreciated people, there is always time for what matters most. And if what matters most right now, going back to step number 1, is connection, then there is time in your day for connection. There's 168 hours in the week, honey. You have time to make that FaceTime call.
Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high-achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life-altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freedom through a life unperfected. What is up, my friends? How are you guys doing? Happy August. Happy almost end of summer for some of us. You guys, we have 1 week left of the children being home for summer. Okay, let me speak for myself. Because I know everyone is in different places in the world and different programs and also feels differently about their kids being home. Some of you have just been loving it, and I love that for you. But some of us have not been loving it. The struggle has been real. While we honor the quality time that we've had, we are also ready for them to go back to school so we can, work, breathe, do the things that have been piling up, hear ourselves think, the basics. And so anyways, this is the last week that my kiddo, my younger one, is home for school. My older one, he's in college. I think he starts in 2 weeks, but he doesn't live with me. So it's a different parenting relationship style and all the things. But my youngest, she just turned 6. She's going into first grade. And so this is the last week. I am hanging on by a thread. I definitely feel ready for just the structure of school. Like I love everything about elementary school with my kids. I love all their activities. I love being a part of it. I love homework. I love all the art stuff they create for you and bring home for you. Like it's really cute and really special. And I also love that they get the hell out of the house every single day. Although here's something that's really chapping my hide that I want to normalize and say out loud. We're going to have a new start time and end time to the school day. And this was voted on by parents, so we voted it in. I don't remember what my choices were. I don't remember feeling super passionate about it either way, because I'm the kind of person that was like, well, yeah, I'm screwed no matter what. Like, no matter what, none of those are going to really be like a 9 to 5. My daughter has somewhere to go. So I'm going to have to figure things out no matter what. So I didn't feel real passionate. I'm more the kind of person that's like, just tell me what it is, and I'm going to be resilient and resourceful and freaking figure it out, right? So anyways, we are starting the new school year, and these turds are going to be getting out of school at 2:35 p.m. You heard that right. 2:35 p.m. Now, we no longer have an early release day every week on Wednesday, and we also have more like full days off, but 2:35 p.m. And I just want to know, like, what working parent is available at 2:25 to stop what they're doing and go get their kid? And then what are we supposed to do with the kids for the rest of the day? So I'm lucky. I got my daughter into the base after school program, so she can go there. She also is going to have dance, so I'll be picking her up early for dance. But like, I'm talking about the parents that couldn't get into that program, that maybe can't even afford that program. What are these parents supposed to do? Where are their kids supposed to go? How are we supposed to juggle our jobs and our children and their safety and also like what they need to be healthy, happy, whole people, let alone what the heck we need to be healthy, happy, whole people? So I don't know what the solution is. And this certainly isn't like a divisive in nature conversation. This is more just like an advocate for mommy's mental health and an advocate for a working mother. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do if our kids are getting out of school at 2:35? That is not even close to the end of the day. 3:30 was pushing it, right? And I'm not even a traditionalist when it comes to work. I don't work 9 to 5 anymore. I never will again. But I still don't want to be done at 2:30. And even if I was, can I please have from 2:30 to 4 to like, I don't know, rest, go on a walk, call a girlfriend, go grocery shopping, take an exercise class, read a book, do some shit for myself, or just like get ready for whatever activity I'm going to be scooting my kids around to that night. Like basically what this means is we're going to wake up, we're going to get the kids to school, we're going to grind it out at work, then we're going to go get them, we're going to struggle with where they're going to go and what they're going to do. That's going to create tension in the house. That tension is going to create friction in the relationship. You're not going to feel like you're successful at parenting because you're frustrated with your kids, but you're also not going to feel like you're successful at work because you're leaving your work day half in the middle of the gosh darn day. And then we're going to schlep them around to their activities until 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then still have to do dinner and books and bath and bedtime. And like, this is part of the problem. This is part of why mommy's mental health is not okay. So parlay that. That's just a total tangent where if you're a parent and your kiddo and you just got that email that your kid is being released at 2:30 and you're freaking out and you're frustrated and you don't know what to do, I just wanted you to know that I see you, and that is seriously concerning, and I don't have all the solutions. I just want to normalize that hard part, that normal. Like, that's crazy to me. However, I know there's rhyme and reason. We need to protect the teacher's mental health, right? There is probably only so much these kiddos can tolerate in a day that the schools can tolerate in a day. Like, again, there's a lot at play here. It's no one's fault. I'm just normalizing the heart of that. Now, parlay that in with, it's been hot as you know what, and everyone's air conditioning went out, so one of our units went out. We have like an upstairs unit and a downstairs unit. So it never got too brutal because the upstairs could stay cool and then our basement just automatically stays cool. But I had to laugh because this is such a like textbook difference between mommy's mental health and daddy's mental health that I think needs to be called out. And God bless my husband. I love him dearly, but I do talk a lot of shit because this is just worthy of discussing. And I talk shit with love, okay? But listen. This dude didn't get sleep 4 nights in a row because he was just so worked up about this air conditioner thing. He was researching, he was overanalyzing, he was getting up in the middle of the night and then coming down to sleep on the couch so he could open the windows in the middle of the night so then he could close them to trap the cold air in. I mean, and he got himself really worked up. And my husband, he's actually a really, really intelligent man, but his like high intelligence lends itself to high anxiety, and he gets like, what's it called? Analysis paralysis. That's what it is. Analysis paralysis. A lot. Pretty much with every damn decision the man has to make. And I actually feel a lot of empathy for him because I see him get really stuck. But he works himself up and then he can't sleep because he's worked up, and then he gets into this vicious cycle. Mind you, he's always been so good at pointing out all my vicious cycles because trust and believe that I have my own version of vicious cycles. But I am also aware of my vicious cycles and have been actively working on them my entire freaking life. This gentleman, it's like he has no awareness. Then when you try to bring it up, he gets defensive. You can't jump in and help because he wants to be the man and fix it and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, long story short, the man doesn't get good sleep for 4 nights in a row. And when I tell you he was falling apart mentally, he was having like the world's biggest adult temper tantrums. And where it really came to a head was I asked him initially when the air conditioning went out, do you want me to tap into my mom hive and find someone? Because if that's how you do shit. You want to know who to go to? You go to your Facebook moms group. They know what's up. That's who I hold credible in my life. That's who I believe in. That's who I trust. Other mothers, okay? I don't need to go online and research random, people get paid to put fake reviews. I don't need to go read random reviews. I want to hear what my neighbor has to say. I trust her. I want to hear what the moms in my circle have to say. I trust them. I want to hear what the moms in the Facebook group know. I trust them, okay? So I offered, honey, do you want me to reach out to my mom hive and find someone? No, let me handle it. Took the man 4 days just to pick someone. Then they put us out 10 days. We will come in 10 days and look at your AC and charge you whatever, $175 or $75. I don't remember what it was, but there was a fee. It's day 9. Okay. Day 9 with no AC plus the 4 that he was, stirring in his own, what. It's day 9 and he gets a phone call from the place he picked. They're canceling our appointment the next day for day 10. And then they rescheduled it 10 days out from there. And it was early in the morning. I was getting ready to go live for one of my clients. That's a business. I do that at 8:30 in the morning. And he comes down the stairs and you guys, I swear to God, I've never seen such a sight. He was so upset. He was so emotional. Like he was beside himself because it wasn't working out and he hadn't slept in 4 days. And I'm like, listen, buddy, I want to have compassion for you, but I went freaking decades with insomnia. Like when I tell you I had insomnia all throughout college, then I had it when I had Camden in college. I thought it was just normal. It wasn't until Camden was like a baby or a toddler that I finally went to the doctor and said, I haven't slept in years. And I literally am fearful that I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. And he finally put me on something to help me sleep that I've been on ever since because I am a terrible sleeper. To this day, even on the sleeping medication, I wake up if my partner farts or if Chloe farts 6 rooms down. Like, I'm not sleeping through shit. I'm constantly waking up. I can't tell you the last time I went to bed at 9 and woke up like any time past 3 and was like surprised. Okay, I'm waking up many times a night. And this has affected my mental health. And there's a bazillion things I do to help myself. I have sleep hygiene. I have these rituals and routines. I take medication. I do meditation. I listen to brown noise. Like I do all these things to help myself sleep and I still struggle and I have for years. And it does affect my mental health. And my husband does point it out. But this individual goes 4 days with no sleep and you would have thought the world was ending. What a turd. So, in my mind, I say all the things that I'm saying out loud to you. Like, you gotta be freaking kidding me, buddy. 4 nights and no sleep. Why don't you write that in your journal? I haven't slept in years, bro. Imagine what it is to be pregnant. Imagine what it is to be nursing a newborn. Imagine what it is to have like serious depression. Imagine what it is to have postpartum depression. Sir, you've never had any of those problems and you're going to die. But we have to remember the pain is relative. And to be a good partner, I can't just shred him when he's already kicked. You know what I mean? Like, that was not the time to point out his cycles. That was the time for me to process to myself the ridiculousness of it all and then go out and try to actually offer him some emotional support, which I did. And I said, honey, I can see this is really weighing on you. You're desperate for some sleep. Once I get done with my call, let's talk about a short-term plan to get you that immediate rest and for us to pick a different AC person, and then let's talk about a long-term plan. And then I just kind of jumped in and took over. And I tapped into my mom hive. Like 7 people had recommended this individual. I clicked on their link. I had a very nice phone call first thing the next morning because this was a Sunday night. I had somebody out by the end of that day to come look at it for free. The individual who showed up, I swear to goodness, had the best energy of any AC person I've ever met. Even my husband was appalled. And even my husband commented, how did you find such an amazing person and company? That's almost weird. And I said, the mom hive, bro. The mom hive. Okay, F around and find out with the mom hive. So anyways, shout out to you moms who are out there just not sleeping, hungry, none of your needs are met, but your partner has a bad night's sleep or gets a little cough or a little cold and he's acting like he's dying. And shout out to you who are not pointing out the discrepancy in the level of what each can handle, but instead just trying to show up and show some support to your partner. Wow, buddy. And anyways, summer cannot come to an end quick enough because I'm melting down because Chloe's home all the time. My husband's melting down because of the heat. Together, we're frayed at every end. But let me just tell you this. One more week and we will have done it. We will have made it. Check it off the list. Made lots of beautiful memories with my daughter. I will never regret that. I will never regret the time spent. And also, I'm very okay with saying out loud, off to school you go, my sweet little love. I cannot wait to see you fly in first grade. So anyways, that is just a random tangent about what's been going on in my household. But today, I do have a more serious topic that I wanted to get into because it's, again, something that is just continuously coming up. And it is the fact that we are in this loneliness epidemic, where even though because of being online, we feel like we should be more connected than ever, because of technology, we think we're supposed to feel more connected than ever, but we are actually more starved for real connection and intimacy than we've ever been before. And I was going to do a little bit of research before getting on the mic and to tell you kind of what the numbers are for loneliness, but here's the thing. I don't think people admit when they're lonely, because I don't think people really understand what loneliness is, especially as moms, right? We're always around people. We're not alone, really, ever, right? We can't even take a bath without our husband walking in, our kids walking in, the phone ringing, all the things. We're never alone. And so we don't think, God, this empty pit in my stomach, this deep sadness, this deep emptiness, what is that? We always think it's something outside of ourselves, but it could very well be loneliness. You can be happily married and extraordinarily lonely. Or you can just be mediocre married. It's not great, or it's not great and it's not terrible, which is what I feel like so many of us fall in when we're in the dog days of parenting. We have some things that are really awesome about our marriages or our relationships, and we have some really hard sticking points that we just don't have the freaking time and energy to work through right now because we're too busy raising children. And we're kind of just hanging on for dear life for that next date night and that next anniversary trip, or when our kids get the hell out of the house where we can remember why we fell in love and have some fun and be free again. Most of us are struggling in our relationships, and that can also lend itself to this deep loneliness. So there's a difference between being alone and loneliness. And I think that all this access to technology and all of this individualism and all of this focus on stuff outside of ourselves has just created more and more distance with one another, with truly being heard and seen and unconditionally loved, which are at their core the most basic human needs. We need to be seen. We need to be heard. We need to be unconditionally loved. And how do we know that we're seen and heard and unconditionally loved? Well, we've kind of moved in this direction of, how many people I have on social media, how many likes I get, how many follows I get, how many new cars I can buy. And that external validation is not the salve for a deep emotional wound like loneliness. And I want to tell you that it doesn't matter what the statistics say. I'm sure they're high. What I know is that I, right now, feel this very deep loneliness. I know that every single one of my adult clients talks about loneliness and how hard it is to make adult friends. I know that every single one of my clients talks about how as we age, our friendship circle gets smaller and wonders what's wrong with me that that's happening. Where did my friend group go? I had in my mind that I would have this like epic group of friends where we would like raise each other's children and have pizza night on Fridays and like, you know, the show A Million Little Things, like those shows give us this idea that that exists, and maybe it does for some people, but a lot of us don't have that. And it's not because we're bad people, okay? So it's just something we don't talk about. But I think because we were more social in our younger days, and certainly in college and things like that, we were always surrounded with friends. We were always surrounded with things to do. And then you get married and then you get your career going and you have kids and like your things become their things and your friends become their friends' moms and dads or their soccer teammates, you know, and those parents are busy too, you know, like all my friends that are parents are also busy too. So just finding a time to meet can be really hard sometimes. So your circle does get smaller and smaller. And this is how we begin to feel lonely. And then if you're feeling disconnected from your partner and like your partner doesn't really know what's really going on for you, what's under the hood for you, what's happening in your internal landscape, you can feel unheard, unseen, disconnected. If you don't feel seen at work, if you're not fulfilling your life's purpose or doing work that's meaningful to you, you can feel even more disconnected. Okay. And then you're seeking for it online. That's fake connection. It's not real. Like in some aspects, I think there's real connection. Like in some like Facebook groups and things like that, there are platforms that I think real connection can breed. But in like the just everyday scroll, all you're getting is dopamine hits and comparison games. And so I want to normalize this experience of feeling bone deep loneliness, especially middle-aged, especially mothers, especially working moms. Like we are giving of ourselves all day long and we lose ourselves in the process. So we're not even connected to ourselves. How the hell are we supposed to connect to others authentically if we haven't even spent any time connecting to ourselves? And so this requires effort, energy, and intention, but I do think we have to protect it and be really mindful of it. So what I wanted to share today was, number one, you're not wrong or bad or flawed that you don't have this like circle of friends that's just flourishing. Okay. I want to normalize loneliness. It's not because of you. It's contextual, but there are some things that I think we can do to help ourselves. And so I wanted to share those with you today. I hope that's okay. So the first thing is with anything that you want a different outcome or a different result around is to set your intention. Set your intention for connection. Okay. I always choose a word of the year. This year, my word of the year was connection. I wanted to feel more connected to myself. I wanted to feel more connected to my kids and in my marriage, in my work, with soul sisters, girlfriends, women that inspire me. And so I've been taking action and I check in with myself once a month. How did I spend my time? If I were to look at my calendar, do I see connection represented? So you have to start with setting the intention. I want to strengthen my connection to self, others, partners, nature, whatever. Or I just want to feel more connected in general. After you set the intention, my loves, you have to make it your priority. It's so easy for us to prioritize other people's things, but the more you take care of yourselves, the better you can serve your friends, families, businesses, all the things. And you have to understand that we are hardwired as animals for connection. This is why it feels good to hug and kiss people, because we release oxytocin, which is the love hormone. We are hardwired for connection. The moment these kids come out of us and they make eye contact with us, right? There is a deep imprinting, a deep connection that is happening through that eye contact. They can't even see anything else in the world, but they can find mom's or dad's or a caregiver's eyes and attach in a healthy way. We are driven for connection. Okay. So in order to take care of yourself, in order to be a healthy, whole person, you got to be connected. It fits under the umbrella of mental health. You're not going to have great mental health if you're in isolation. In fact, when many of us start to feel depressed, the first thing we'll do is isolate, right? So being connected is not just like a bonus. It's a primary, basic, core human need that is also pertinent to mental health and well-being. So you set your intention, then you prioritize that shit like it's the most important thing, which looks like making space for it on your calendar. So I am going to go to dinner with friends one night a week. I'm going to do something one weekend a month. I'm going to book 30 minutes to call my mom on the way to work. I'm going to book 30 minutes to FaceTime my best friend across the country after work. Like whatever it is, I want to see it in your calendar. I want to be able to look at your calendar and see, wow, she's going out of her way to stay connected, right? You should see on my calendar, I'm getting together with a group of girls or a girlfriend at least once, some way a week. If not, I haven't made it a priority. And you can look at what's realistic for you. Maybe you start small and it's just once a month or bi-weekly and work your way up. But that takes me to number 2, which is choose wisely, first of all, who these connections are. Because all too often we're barking up the wrong tree for said connection, and it's not healthy. It's not an equal exchange of energy. Family is the perfect explanation. Now, I love my family. I love hanging out with my family, and my family isn't even like close enough to see all the time. But I know there's a ton of you out there right now that are just bleeding your precious jewels, time, energy, and sanity by talking to your mom every day, or going over to help your grandma every Sunday, or listening to your dad gripe about whatever every Wednesday, or hearing your sister's drama over and over, but she won't take action on it, or showing up to bail your brother out or your cousin out. Listen to me, just because these people are blood doesn't mean they get the best and most of you. Family relationships should be treated the same as any other relationship. They need to be built on love, trust, respect, and healthy boundaries. And what that means is what you give out, you get back. If you are just giving and giving and giving and giving and not receiving, that is not an intentional connection that I would continue to bleed energy for. I would be cutting that back to make space for connecting to myself and somebody else that does enter into that like figure 8 flow with me of giving and receiving, where it's mutually beneficial. So you need to kind of put your current connections through a little bit of an assessment, right? Who am I giving my time and energy to? And are these the people I want to be surrounding myself with? Okay, one of my favorite books is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. James Clear was asked what the most important habit is. And he said the most important habit is being mindful of who you surround yourself with. Because who you surround yourself with, you will become like. So if you surround yourself with people that constantly complain about their lives, that's who you're going to become like. But if you surround yourself with people that have optimism and grit, and they're elevated energetically, and they have big goals, and they're doing big things in the world, and they have pride in what they do, or they give a shit about some things, doesn't even have to be work related, right? I like to surround myself with people that are passionate like me. And I don't care if you're passionate about how you cook a casserole or how you start a business. It doesn't matter. But do you have passion for something? Because if you have passion for something, then I can engage in really deep and juicy and meaningful conversations, which is number 3. But if you don't, I'm going to be constantly trying to like energy jolt you to give you the passion that you don't have. And that's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to bring someone else back to life. So who are you giving your energy to when it comes to relationships and connection? And are those people A, that you want to be more like, that elevate you, or B, give you a mutual exchange of energy? It's a give and take. It's mutually beneficial. It's built on love and trust and respect and boundaries. So many of us are just bleeding, giving out to people who don't deserve your precious jewels. Okay? So put some stock in, where's my energy going? And are these the relationships that I want to be tending to? Number 3 is have deep conversations. If you know me, you know that I have a big mouth. I say what's on my mind. I speak it like it is. It gets me in trouble. But I also like to talk about real things. Real things. I don't want to know the surface level shit. Like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. Good. How are you? Like, I want to know what's your problem in your relationship. I want to know what's your relationship with your body. I want to know what your trauma is. And now we don't need to open that up all the time and every time. I want to know what your fears are. I want to know what keeps you up at night. I want to know what wrongs you want to make right. I want to know what you're the most curious about in your life. I want to know at the end of the day on your deathbed, will you be glad you spent your time doing what you were doing? These are the kinds of things I want to know about people. I want to know your resilience story, your comeback story. I want to know what you learned about yourself going through that hard freaking thing. I want to talk about the shit no one else wants to talk about because I'm sick of pretending it doesn't exist. It's what makes us who we are, and it's part of the human experience. But you are not going to connect deeply if you're asking surface level questions and you're giving surface level answers. You know, Jim Fortin, he has his own podcast. He taught me the quality of your life is dependent upon the quality of your questions. And that is so true. Stop asking boring ass questions. Ask deep and juicy questions. Now, of course, you've got to check the timing. Of course, the context has to be appropriate. We want to be mindful and skillful, and there does need to be a layer of trust built before we dive into the deep end. But even if it's not like mental health and trauma related, but it's just like, what are your passions in the world? What's your favorite book you've ever read? Where are you from? And how do you feel like that's shaped who you are? What's your cultural background and upbringing? Right? Like, get to know people. Be curious. This is key. I want you to take this away. Be curious about yourself, about others, about things in the world, about why things are this way in the world, about what's possible. Be curious. Seek to understand. Don't ask surface level questions and expect deep connection. Seek to understand why people are the way they are, how their brains work. Stay out of judgment if you can. That's easier said than done. We all fall to it. But be curious. Ask quality questions. Have deep and meaningful conversations. If you're wanting to increase your intimacy in your marriage, which you guys gave me feedback that you want me to do a podcast on sex and intimacy, so I'm working on that, but I wanted to call in an expert because, honey, she is not the sexpert. Let me just say that. She is not the sexpert, so we're going to have to bring someone in to pick their brain on the matter. But what I do know about that is that intimacy first starts with emotional connection. And Esther Perel, she has a podcast called Where Should We Begin? I love her work around intimacy. She created a game of questions to ask your partner. So if you're like, Brooke, I don't know what quality questions, I can't even think of like, I don't know, when I had my last period, how am I supposed to come up with these brilliant, thought-producing quality questions? There's plenty. There's journal prompts in Pinterest. There's ideas in Pinterest. There's these game. Esther Perel has the game. I don't remember what the game is called. We'll link it in the show notes. But there's, teasers. There's the couples intimacy book that has ideas and games you can play and questions you can ask each other to get yourself going. But let's start to have some more deep quality conversations. Let's get curious and let's seek to understand each other at a deeper level, because that does help this being seen, being heard, being understood. This opens us up to understand others, therefore making us more relatable, more connectable is not the word because that's not a word, but people will be drawn to us and want to connect with us when we're open about things and to things such as this. Here's another tip. Pick up the damn phone. Okay? Make the phone call. The text, I know I love to text, but it's not cutting it for the real connection. Pick up the phone and FaceTime your bestie. Okay? Make a date. On Thursday nights from 6 to 7:30, we're going to have a glass of wine or a tea or whatever. We're going to sit on our back patios and we're going to FaceTime. That is a beautiful way to use technology to stay authentically connected. All right. Sunday mornings, have your coffee, sit on your front porch, call your mom, call your dad, call your grandma. But pick up the phone and call. Pick up the phone and FaceTime. There's more to it from a connection standpoint than just a text. You're not going to misread the communication. You're going to be able to sense and feel energy. You can see their body language, their facial expressions. You feel like you're there with them more than if you just do a text. Okay. And nobody wants to sit there and use their thumbs for that long anyways. I don't know about you, but I'm a very irritable person. So if I have to send something long in a text, nothing could be more annoying. Or if you don't even have time, there is always time for what matters most. Let me remind you of that. If you haven't already, I did launch an episode about gaining 2 to 3 hours back into your day, and it's all about time management. Go back and listen to that one because I help you change your mindset, because even though we are busy, overworked, and underappreciated people, there is always time for what matters most. And if what matters most right now, going back to step number 1, is connection, then there is time in your day for connection. There's 168 hours in the week, honey. You have time to make that FaceTime call. But let's say you're really wanting to share something with your bestie or your mentor or your soul sister or your mom, but the time isn't right for a phone call or a FaceTime. Send them a voice note. Send them a voice note or get on Marco Polo. I freaking love Marco Polo because you get to record a video of yourself speaking and then send it, and then they can watch it whenever it works for them and send you something back. So it's a way to visually stay connected at your own convenience throughout the day. But pick up the phone. Move beyond the text, I guess, is the key takeaway there. Number 5, swap likes and follows for one quality friendship. Who gives a shit about how many likes you get on social media? Who gives a shit how many people follow you? Okay? It doesn't really matter in the end. Do we want to have people that we can have conversations with online about topics we're passionate about? You bet. Do I love my small and mighty community online where we talk about mommy's mental health and we talk about leadership and growth and expansion and energy and all the things? Yes, I value the shit out of that, but I don't obsess over the numbers. I welcome you to join. I don't obsess over the numbers. It is more important to have one ride or die. And you notice I say one. We don't need 5. We don't need 10. We don't need to circle like a million little things. You need one ride or die. That person is someone you can call when you are in a fight with your partner, when your kid is stranded somewhere and you need help, when you need the recipe to that casserole. That is someone who knows you and knows what your struggles are and will call you out. That is also someone who lifts you up. That is someone who knows your goals and pushes you to greatness. That is also someone that is going after their own greatness, and you inspire each other and you speak each other's names in behind closed doors when there's an opportunity. You advocate for each other. You just need one, my loves. One. And can it be your partner? You bet. That's a great place to start. If you have that in your partner already, beautiful. Expand it to a soul sister. Okay? But we just need that one person. It's not about quality or quantity. It's about quality. All right? So swap out the grabbing for likes and follows and surface connection for one solid person. And if you're not sure where to find that, that leads me to number 6. Join groups and communities. Join a mama group. Join a community service group. Join a pottery class. Take the same yoga class every week. Go where other people are communing and getting together, and you're going to find someone there. You already on the same energy wavelength that you're coming to this dance class or this gardening class or this support group because you're there. And then you're going to find your one person in there that you're like, they seem cool. I would actually want to hang with them and have coffee. I want to know more about them. I'm curious about them. I could see myself spending time with them. I could see myself offering something here in this relationship. So get involved is number 6. Join a community of like-minded people like yourself. And if you're not sure where to start, what is it that you need or you're curious about? Do you need a support group? Go there. Are you curious about gardening? Go there. Do you need to learn how to podcast? Join that. Do you want to work on intimacy in your relationship? Join that. Do you want to hike? There's hiking groups. There's meetup.com. Go to meetup.com. There's meetups for everything. Okay? There's meetups for shit you didn't even know existed. Like sometimes I just look on there for the sheer entertainment value. Like, holy crap, people are coming together to weave their kids' first pair of undies. Like, just like so detailed. It's unbelievable. And shout out to you creatives that do that. But I'm just saying there's something for everyone. There is something for everyone. So get out, join that class, join that community, find your gem, find your diamond in the rough in there, and then invite them to coffee afterwards. Invite them on a hike Saturday morning somewhere outside your house where you can both show up and both leave. And again, go back to number one, give it attention. Put it on your calendar. Stick to your commitment to that person. Plant the seed and water it and watch that one friendship blossom and grow. And I have a couple people like that in my life, and they all serve a little bit different of purposes. But you've got that mom friend, you've got that boss babe friend, you've got your family, you've got your partner. I have awesome neighbors. I have friends from childhood. I have friends from high school. I have friends from college. I have friends from grad school. But I really just make sure that I have a couple ride or dies. A couple ride or dies will make you feel so seen. You don't need to have something to do every single night. You don't need a full circle of friends. You just need a couple ride or dies. And if you don't have that, join a group or a community. Number 7 is listen to podcasts. I cannot tell you how seen I have felt, how connected to humanity I have felt by listening to podcasts and listening to real women's struggles and triumphs, listening to people working through hard things. I feel like, oh my God, like this is it. This is humanity. This is what it means to be human. I'm not alone. And that has helped me feel less lonely. When I know there's other women out there recovering from things, struggling in their, relationships, or struggling balancing working and being a parent, at war with their bodies, knee deep in depression, ditching the mask of perfectionism. When I hear stories of women working through things, I feel more connected because I don't feel like I'm a leper that no one wants to know or hang around or be a part of their life because I have these struggles. I can find more of my own worthiness in your story. Your story inspires me to carry on. Your realness and rawness makes me laugh and makes me cry and makes me feel what it feels to feel alive, right? That's the power of story. And so whether that story is really felt through books or podcasts or whatever, I invite you to take advantage of that because it has helped me. Sometimes I just sit in my bath and listen to a 30-minute podcast and it scratches an itch for me somewhere. And I just love that. And last but not least, and the most important, is you've got to connect with yourself first. I've shared this with you guys before. I'll share it again. I'll share it till the cows come home. You will only connect with others so far as you've gone with yourself. You will only let love in so much as you love yourself. You will only extend love out so much as you love yourself. So you've got to spend time with yourself. You've got to tend to your own needs. You've got to be curious about your own inner workings of your own mind. You've got to get curious about your dreams and desires and take action on them. You've got to show up for yourself. You've got to sit in stillness, whether that looks like breath work, meditation, going on a hike in nature, swimming, journaling, reading, learning, being inspired. Be with yourself, my loves. Treat your relationship with yourself like it's the most magnificent and special one, because it is. And when you level up in this way, when you level up in your relationship with yourself, watch your relationships transform. You'll strengthen your relationship with your partner. You'll strengthen your relationship with your kids. You'll attract that one gem that I was talking about in that yoga class. You know, I remember a long time ago, I was in a yoga class, and it was at a time in my life when I was going through a major upgrade, if you will. And I had this woman come up to me before class. I think it was actually before class. And she was like, I just want you to know that I can see energy. I can see your aura. I can read energy. And you just have the most beautiful energy. And I'm just wondering if we can like connect after this. And I was like shocked. This was like, I don't know, over 10 years ago. This was before I even knew what energy was. This was before I was passionate about energy. This may have even been like as I was first starting to go through my trauma healing and remembering. It may have even been during or before, I don't remember. But it was really at the very beginning of my journey where I felt broken and worried about myself. And I was in a lot of pain, but I was starting to face it and starting to do something about it. And for that stranger to come up to me and say those beautiful, kind words was, I don't even know that I have the words. It was moving beyond words. It was like, wow, somebody sees something beautiful in me that I don't even know I see in myself. And such that she wants to connect outside of this yoga class. How cool is that? So when you start to focus on yourself, when you start to work on yourself, you do unlock this magnetism when it comes to connection and relationships. And you'll start to notice, you start to attract people, places, and things that mirror that magnetism. People start to see you. People start to compliment you on the street and tell you that you're beautiful or that you're radiating or your outfit is fly or whatever. You start meeting the right people in the right places at the right times. The right group comes into your Facebook feed. The right podcast comes into your ears and things start clicking. And you start feeling more connected, and then you spend more time with yourself, more time in introspection, more time on self-care, and that just strengthens these connections. So if you want to have better connection, you need to strengthen the connection with self. That is the most important relationship you will ever have. And I'm sure I've done podcast episodes on that. I'll continue to do podcast episodes. How do you get to know yourself? How do you grow to like yourself? But that's it for today. So let me summarize. Let me go back through and summarize. We are in a loneliness epidemic. We are never alone and yet more lonely than we've ever been. So here's some things to give you to help you with that connection piece. Number 1, set the intention around connection and protect it fiercely on your calendar and water that seed. You know, where attention goes, energy flows. So if you want more connection, you need to do more to be more connected. Number 2 is we need to choose wisely who we're connecting to. Put the people that you're bleeding energy to through an assessment. I should be giving the energy to myself, my partner, my kids, and a couple people in my world that truly uplift me, that I can engage in a healthy and equal exchange of energy that is built on trust, respect, and the things that matter most to me. So it's all about quality, not quantity. Number 3, start having deeper conversations. Be curious. Seek to understand. Okay? We're not all just fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you doing? Fine. I'm fine. I love to ask people, what's not fine in your life right now? What's not fine, right? The quality of your life is dependent upon the quality of your questions. We need to start asking deeper and juicier questions. Number 4, pick up the damn phone. Okay, enough with the long texts. Let's do a FaceTime. Let's do a Marco Polo. Let's do a voice note. But let's see each other. Let's hear each other. If we're going to use technology, let's use the best parts of it to really be in the energy with each other. Number 5, swap likes and follows for one quality friend. One ride or die. Who cares about all the likes and follows online? You need one person in your corner, a true ride or die. And if you don't know who that can be, or you don't have that person right now, number 6, join a group, join a community, join a class, bring your good energy, and you will attract and find your people. But then you need to reach out to that person. You need to set a date with that person. You need to follow up and show up for that person. You need to water that seed, and you need to honor your intention. Okay. And last but not least, no, listen to podcasts. And last but not least, connect to yourself. I hope there's something in here that you can take away from today's conversation, and I hope that it serves you in meaningful ways. I hope that you can feel just a little bit more connected by me normalizing this loneliness that we're all feeling in this epidemic. And I also hope that none of you are murdering your husbands because they're being big babies because they didn't sleep for 4 nights when you haven't slept in years. Big, big love to you all. See you next time.
Thank you so much for listening to the Unperfected Pod. I hope this episode helped you feel a little less alone and a little more inspired to be you. If you like what we're doing here, I would so appreciate that you subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. If you do, share the episode on Instagram and tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected to enter to win a 1-to-1 laser coaching session. Also, feel free to join me in my private Facebook community, Mommy's Mental Health Matters, where we continue the conversation. Thanks again for being here, and see you in next week's episode.